Hello friends, welcome to this channel, The Learning CA, where we keep posting videos in the area of international tax, transfer pricing and FEMA. Friends, we keep receiving queries from fellow consultants when we do transfer pricing analysis that whether external database is to be used every time or whether we should analyze the data available on an external database every time when we do the TP analysis. So for that only I have prepared this video. I hope that gives you a proper clarification. But before going to the video, let me just also tell you that our videos are for educational purpose only and they are not to be construed as any form of advice. Before going to that also, let me also tell you that we have already come up with our transfer pricing course which is Mastering the Art of Transfer Pricing in 9 days. The course covers technically 900 topics and it is regularly updated whenever the amendment also comes up. The course also have now live weekly mentorship sessions in it, so that whatever the mentorship session which I have taken in past with the participants, they are also are the part of the course. And with that we have also introduced also a dedicated case study assessment where you can answer on that case studies. You can send us your responses on that case studies if you are participant of that course, and then we will assess that particular thing as well. So this is what about is our transfer pricing course. If you are an ambitious chartered accountant and wish to learn how the transfer pricing is practiced in the actual market, then you can enroll into this course and you can grab the practical skill sets in this area. Coming back to the video, are we required to use external databases when we do the transfer pricing analysis? Yes or no, right? So let me just first begin with from where the concept of database comes up, and then after what are the types of database or data available for benchmarking, and then should we use or should we go for external database or not. I hope this video gives you an entire clarity on using of database. Now friends, let me tell you that if you have seen my other videos on transfer pricing analysis, how it is to be undertaken, what is transfer pricing all about, you can check on my channel. These videos are appropriately available and you can understand that how the analysis is to be undertaken in a very concise manner. Now when it comes to database, let me tell you that every time we are not required to use external database. As a transfer pricing consultant for 9 years, let me just put down this clarification that we are not required, or we don't generally use every time external database. If it is only required, then only we use a database, that is external database, or it could be a paid one or it could be the free one as well. There are many types of database external, that also I am going to discuss in this video. But before that, the concept of database. So technically, let me just introduce to you to a word which is called data, right? Now data can be of two categories. Now when you are doing a benchmarking analysis, there can be two types of data, two categories of data which might be available for you for benchmarking the transaction. Benchmarking is basically when you try to arrive at arm's length price for the transaction. Now what are those two categories of data? First is internal data, which is technically available in your client organization or probably with your client group, the other group entities to which your client belongs. So that is what we call internal data that can be used, and that is a preferable use. That's a preferable data which you have to use for doing the benchmarking analysis. Now what could be that type of data? Now let me just also give an example over here. Suppose a company, your client company is selling finished product to associated enterprise or related party. Now the same set of finished product is also being sold to the third parties. Then that data becomes so that is called an internal data, right? So that is that data, the product set which has been sold to third parties, the terms of transaction, the pricing of that transaction can be considered for benchmarking your transaction which your client company has made with the related entity. Now that is what we call internal data. There are many types of internal data which could be available. First is on the unit pricing. The second could be the segmental, that is profit segmental data, or where you have to compare the margins with regards to the sale of services or sale of goods to the associated enterprise and to the non-associated enterprise. So such type of data is what we categorize in internal data. So when do we use external database? Now we generally use or prefer to use external data or the database which are available when the internal data is either not available or probably you cannot rely the data for comparability analysis. So in that cases we go for an external data search, and that is where we try to fetch data which can be made comparable to your covered or to your international transaction which you are trying to benchmark. Now there can be two categories, as I can say that from two sources, or you can say, or you can fetch the external data. What could be those two sources? First are the official websites on which the particular data is available. So generally in India, if we are doing a loan benchmarking, like in case if the client has received ECB and we want to benchmark that ECB transactions, we generally first also refer to the database, that is the data which is being issued by RBI on their official portal. So this is a freely available data and which can be used and considered for benchmarking purposes. Again, let me just clarify that whenever you are using database on a free sources, you need to understand that the reliability is the main concern, right? The data should be reliable first of all, and that data should be able, by using the data, you should be able to justify the appropriate arm's length price. You should be able to arrive at appropriate arm's length price for the transaction which you are benchmarking. So this is one of the example. Generally, we have also seen that the search, so there are certain at times if we are not able to also fetch out certain comparable companies from the existing database, the paid database which we use, and generally we also use search engines to find certain comparable companies, and then after we assess those companies that whether that can be made comparable to the tested party or not. So in such cases also there are certain search engines, so you can put down or you can find out certain comparable companies from the search engine. So that is again subject to the fact that you have to assess the reliability of that particular data which you have obtained from free sources. Now the other set of data which you can, other source of data from where you can, other source of information or source of database from where you can get the information for benchmarking the transaction is that there are certain paid databases as well, for which you might have to take the subscription, and appropriately you can access that databases. Now when you do the access, when you perform search on database, every database, it's not a rocket science to understand and to perform the search on database. It is just certain queries that you are required to put down in a database in appropriate manner, and appropriately you can fetch the data for the potential comparable transactions or comparable companies, and then appropriately you can analyze and you can finalize your analysis basis the same as well. That's an entire process, how do you do the analysis, and which we have duly covered in our transfer pricing course. But these are the two types of data. First is internal, the second is external, and there are also databases which are available on paid basis and which you can access, and from where you can fetch out that data. Now also just trying to say here that when do we use generally external database? So I said that when there is no reliable internal comparable data which is available, or which cannot be relied for benchmarking process, then you have to go and you can use the external databases. And if there is no reliable free data available in the market, then obviously you have to go for a paid database, which technically is called as external databases, external paid databases, which are generally being used when you are required to arrive at a profit margins, probably at gross profit margins or the net profit margin level. That point of time you are required to use a database to fetch the companies which could be considered as comparable to your tested party, that is your entity on which you are testing the transaction. That are one of the instances where we use external paid databases. The other instances is where you are required to benchmark certain special transactions like royalty or probably loan transactions. There are also special databases which gives you a entire output of loan agreements or royalty agreements, so that you can obviously consult your transfer pricing consultant, and appropriately you can then go ahead to use the database for your analysis. So guys, I hope this video was informative to you. Click the like button, and if you are new to this channel, please hit the subscribe button. And if you are ambitious and if you want to learn transfer pricing from me through our course Mastering the Art of Transfer Pricing in 9 days, you can enroll into that course. There's a link given in the description box below, and you can just click that, get yourself enrolled and become the part of a learning journey, transfer pricing learning journey on a practical level with me. This is C. Abhishek Bhavsar signing off. Thank you.